Where does visual identity fit into sort of overarching business strategy?
Yeah, so you've got your business, which is on the far left there, which is basically, what your consumers are buying from you, what your primary business and function is, right? You've got your brand, which is why customers are buying from you. And then on the
Mhm.
right-hand side, which is where we're going to be focusing, a subset of this is your branding and how it's, shaped from the consumers and how the consumers are actually perceiving, your organization and your identity. So visual identity falls, it's a facet of branding, right? So you can see there visual identity falling off that.
Why would we invest in your visual identity?
Well, you want to make sure that with your visual identity that it's easily recognizable, presents professional and reliable perception of the business, and also stands out from your competitors. It's one thing, take a look at what the competitors are doing.
Mm.
It's all important to make sure that you can separate yourself from those competitors with your visual identity. And also, just the consistency with your visual identity keeps the brand front of mind for the consumers.
What are the elements of a strong visual identity?
Yeah, so a good analogy that I heard or I saw a while back from another designer was thinking of your visual identity and even your brand as a whole, like an onion.
Hmm.
And an onion has multiple different layers, right? So your visual identity has that. So one of those layers being logo, your color palette, another layer, typography. Typography is basically your fonts. So your font families, your font weight, your kerning, your tracking, which is the space in between all your letters, all that boring stuff that the designers manage.
Hmm.
Iconography is another layer, right? And that's optional. Some organizations, depending on the brand direction, utilize iconography, some don't. Photo and video, a big part, because that's, really going to connect, the staff down to the environment, and really sort of sell the products and services that you're delivering from that visual perspective. And then the all important brand guideline or style guideline, some people refer to it as that. And what that does is it ties all those components, all those layers of the onion together, right? A very
Hmm.
critical component of the visual identity part, brand guideline.
I'm actually going to show a physical example.
Mm.
Um, this is a long-standing client from many years, and we're in the midst of a bit of a redesign. This is their existing website, and honing in specifically on their brand. They run a pretty cool event where you basically run a marathon around Uluru, and they've been doing this for years and years and years. This was their existing identity. We actually went down the path, so redesigning the website. Um, Basically presented a concept, and they're like, oh, not feeling it. And it was it wasn't until we sort of took a full step back, they're actually more dissatisfied with the brand because the direction that we'd taken was based on the colors and stuff that existed in this existing logos. And it's like, all right, well, actually, you know what we need to do? We need to go back to the foundational piece, which is the brand, the visual identity, and relook at that. Is that still current? And the answer was no. So that's then where we embarked on this redesign of the actual brand. And you can see here's the output of that. So you can see it's a good evolution on the existing brand. There's been a real simplification process of this. Um, so what we're looking at on screen is the I guess the summarized version of all of that. So this is the brand style guide, and you can see here it's rules around logo spacing. And this essentially is the rule book. This can be handed to any supplier out there in the world, and they know that if they follow the principles that are defined in this document, that in theory we should get a nice consistent result around logo usage, what to do on different colors.
And this is where we start to see coming in from the previous page we were on, John, around the onion layers, right?
Yeah.
Where this is outlines the fonts, and you keep going through. It's dictating all those rules. And as you just mentioned, like the beauty of this is it's the foundation to the house that everything else is built upon. So
Yeah.
getting this right and having this will alleviate a lot of, I guess, babysitting that needs to take place when you're getting
Mm.
a business card, website, car signage. It doesn't matter, right? You send them this full inclusive visual style guide pack, and the weight's off you in terms of dictating what the outcomes need to be, right?
Love it. Love it. So I'm just sort of flicking through this nice and quick. But essentially, that's the document, and then like how that's translated now to a physical user identity, a user interface is this is a mock-up of the website. So it's not the finished product of the website, but you can see then how that's just been totally cleaned up. You can see how all the different visual elements come through, the use of typography, photography, colors.
Color, yeah, right. So you'd go away after looking at this and you'd know what, Outback Marathon's colors are because we've been consistent with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. So I think this is a really nice step forward, and hopefully it's been helpful in terms of just showing a practical example of how all these elements can only really work if we get this this foundational piece done.